We are back, episode 11, last show of 2025. I cannot believe it's December. We're in the middle of Hanukkah festivities with Christmas coming right up, and then the new year. I can't believe already it's going to be 2026. Jeff Berlin, welcome.
I can't believe I'm going to be 73.
Oh, that's
what I can't believe.
I'm right behind you. I'll be 63. It's metric. I'm 10 years behind you.
You are metrically my youth.
When's your birthday again?
January 17th. You know who's on my birthday?
Who?
Al Capone, Andy Kaufman, Jim Carrey, Eartha Kitt, Muhammad Ali, Kid Rock. There's a few more.
And January 17th in 1994 was the Northridge earthquake, which I went through.
So did I.
And on that day, it was Martin Luther King Day as well. And my birthday is April 2nd, shared with the late, great Leon Russell and someone else who I can't think of right now. Oh, that was the day that Buddy Rich passed away. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but here we are, Rhythm and Low. So, folks, what we do, and we invite you to chime in with questions or comments with some of your favorite drums and bass duos, Rhythm and Lows. Get it. And Jeff's going to go first and submit. Talk about the video he submitted, then we'll play it. Then I'll talk about mine, which I'm super excited about. And we talk about like what makes this arrangement of two people so great. And Jeff's got a little spin on his today, don't you?
Well, the spin is that, well, it's two spins, so it's spinded. I've submitted another piece of music that was not, I guess, allowable to be played.
Right, it would have gotten muted.
It would have gotten muted.
Yeah.
It was a copyright thing. So at the last second, I mean, I tend to admire African rhythm. And I went and looked for African percussion or drums and bass and didn't find anything in particular. So kept looking. Finally, I happened on, by accident, a Hammond organ player and a drummer playing, I think they said it was a Maceo Parker type of groove. So I listened through it, and either you or Steve, your colleague, your son, can lay out the credentials. But what I heard was musically enough for me to submit it and offer a couple of thoughts before we play it, which is some of the best bass playing, and in regard to bass playing, I don't mean bass guitar playing, I mean sectionally, sonically in the bass area.
The clef.
The lower proximity of the sonic picture. Yeah. And came from Hammond organ, and Hammond organ players sometimes were some of the best bass players ever. Yeah. And I'll point to the great, his name went right out of my head, Chester Thompson, not the drummer, but the Hammond organ player who played with Tower of Power.
Yeah,
was simply astonishing. This is not that. This is a Maceo Parker type thing where the bass is played as funky and as in time as you can get.
That is so cool. It's a really short clip, folks, so I'm going to play it through twice so that you can soak it in and let it marinate a bit. Here we go. Nice. Let's do that one more time. And listen how the drums are just laying back and letting the organ player do their thing. That's very key, by the way.
I wish there was more, but you see, this is intoxicating. It's almost a little bit of a tease because people
absolutely
instantly, I know that anybody watching this show will instantly have picked up on the feel. Now, two things rather vital and important, and it's one is a comment to the bass community, which has made an almost, I would call it preachy type of declaration that they say that it is their job to serve the song. The reason I call it preachy is because it's serving the song is essentially a term that doesn't mean anything,
Right.
in that everybody that plays a song contributes to the style and feel of the song. It ain't a unique a contribution.
It's like saying if you're going to play, you should play well.
There you go.
Like,
there's another thing they say. It's like when you play, make sure you play musically.
Right.
And I never got these comments. They sound more preachy than factual or even applicable or even thought stimulating.
Yeah.
So this particular piece, if you listen to the drummer, one, his time is excellent. Why? Because everybody that can play in 4/4. There's just no doubt about that. If one cannot play in 4/4, it only means they can't play yet. They have to practice more. Right. And then that, even with the comping, the bass, I mean, this is a brilliant example of unified time, great playing, serving a song, and I'll bet you $1 million nobody said before they hit the record button, hey guys, let's serve the song.
Right.
I genuinely dislike that phrase, and it's become a popular mantra.
Oh, it's dumb. It's dumb to say that.
Dumb.
Yeah, because if you listen to Carnival 9 by ELP, all three of them were serving that song. What a lot of people mean by it is they mean don't overplay. And there's no such thing as overplaying if playing elaborately is part of that song. Now, if the drummer were to be soloing all over the place over that organ player, and we'll play the clip again in a moment, then that would not be serving that song if that's not what the organ player required for the drummer's part. It's all subjective, and it's all dependent on the artist, not who's listening to it. That's my thoughts on it.
I think it's an excellent thought. See, it's rare that a guy will go 1, 2, 3. You know, right. it fairly well does not happen. I'll repeat the musical declaration. It doesn't really happen outside of, let's say, an environment where a gig where a bassist is sort of expected to do that.
Right. And I have that in my clip. But first, let's listen to this one more time. And then I have a musical question for Jeff. Check this out, folks. So my question, Jeff, and you're right, everyone should be able to play in 4/4. That doesn't mean they could play it with great time. They should learn to, and it doesn't mean they can play it with great feel, whatever that feel should be. But separately from that, my question is, when we listen to that, we know that rhythm has so much to do with feel. If we take that Hammond organ player's choice of notes, how much does the choice of notes for that run affect feel as well, melodically?
Feel nothing. Harmony, everything. And I'll give an example. Do you have a second?
Yeah, of course. He's gonna get his trumpet. His trumpet?
Yeah, I named my trumpet after our president, Donald Trumpet. Listen, here's the line that I think I heard. Right?
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
It's really clear, but I could
harmonize on that. Yeah.
Now the feel really wasn't altered, but the harmony was so distracting.
Right, exactly.
That in truth, the musical question and the musical answer is that the feel wasn't affected. It's the harmony that was affected. Notes, there are right notes, there are wrong notes, there are wrong harmonies, I mean, I share thoughts that are not made up by me. It's just musical goings on. This is how music is done. People can play in 4/4 because 4/4 is the least challenging rhythm. All one has to do is mentally abide by the style.
Yeah.
I watched, and then I'll shut up because I know you're going to do your thing.
Okay.
I watched the Ringo thing just about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. What band is he with?
He's a young up and coming drummer, so I don't know who he played with. Four other guys from France. So he's playing, and he's playing in perfect 4/4 time. How did he acquire it? Because he's always played in 4/4 time. That's all.
Yeah. Interesting observations and points. I love it. Now, my clip, my submission does have some on the bass, but it also has brevity as well. And this is, I'm so excited to show this because I have a musical crush.
That's the band that Ringo played with. The
That's right.
Okay.
I have a musical crush on this bass player, as well as my buddy, the drummer, Jeremy Colson. The guitar player, Jill, is not playing during this section. He's letting bass and drums. The amazing bass player, I think, I just love her playing Mohini Day. And I'm so glad Jeremy's playing with her. He was with Steve Vai previously. He's been on the show twice. He's just a really great guy. He lives near where I grew up in the San Fernando Valley. And I really have been wanting to feature them. And honestly, when I went to look for a video of them this morning, this was the first one I found. And I was afraid to look for any others, simply because I know I would just fall down another rabbit hole and not get any work done and not be able to decide what video to show. So I'm going to show all 3 minutes and 10 seconds of this, and watch for how they groove together, folks. Watch for the brevity that's put in place to give space to each other, and watch how there's some solo sections where they go back and forth in conversation as well, just bass and drums. Here we go. Jeremy Colson with Mohini Day. I just love that. And Jeremy's timing, any drummer could have let that go off the rails so easily with so many things happening in the breaks, but he's just so on it. Never once does it get away from him. And I love how they go back and forth, the busy to brevity to brevity to busy. I just love that. And one other observation, Jeff, and I'd love your thoughts on this on Mohini's playing, she's really showing that you don't need big giant Stanley Clark hands and fingers, bless his heart, to do what she's doing. It's amazing her dexterity with just she's not a big girl. And I just find that really cool.
Yeah, she has gathered a great repertoire of fusion bass licks
Yeah.
and has parlayed them into a very successful career. She's obviously very, very talented, no doubt about it. Here's what I predict for this young lady. There's going to come a day. Right now, this approach, the music approach, is very successful for her. And it's really exciting, fresh, a lot of varieties of subdivisions and technical virtuosity. As she gets older and stays in music, she's going to have to slow down. And she's going to be a little more selective in her harmony. And I feel that when this period of a deeper introspection comes, because it comes to all of us as we get older, you know, that's when something magical is going to appear in her bass playing. She is unbelievable at this thing.
Yeah.
Successful at it. And what will happen is, this is a prediction. I'm a good predictor because 99% of what I predict in music has happened. That's another video sometime. I can explain why I feel this way and why things have turned out this way. Okay. Anyway, so as she proceeds, she's going to have to start to investigate other aspects of harmony. When technique and the subdivisional aspect of lick playing, bass playing, which I did too, eventually isn't enough. And she's going to alter into something else. I don't know when, but it'll come.
Nice. That's awesome. I just love watching them play. I get a lot of her feeds in my shorts and my stories, and I always watch because they're not all the same. And it's not like, oh, that's just like the last five fucking things I just heard from. They're different, and she's always. The other thing I like is you can see they're enjoying it too. That
Yeah.
means a lot to me, you know.
Oh, she's marvelous.
Yeah, and you see Jeremy break into smile, and I just love that. I love when people are real, and they're not just always, you know, just a solid over concentrating and, you know, professorial. You know, that's okay if it's somebody's personality, but I love when people can look at each other, laugh, cue each other, and it just brings more, humanizes the experience, I think, as musicians. And I think, you know, you worked with some of the guys from Yes when you subbed for Tony Levin on the ABWH tour. And before YouTube, before interviews were popular, before any of that, everyone thought that people like them were just so serious, you know. And Rick Wakeman's one of the biggest like jokers on the planet, you know. And Alan White, bless his heart, who I knew for years and years, funny guy. Bill Bruford is who you played with for years, very professorial, but just such a down to earth, sweet man. And we have this vision of people from the albums, right, before we ever see interviews or anything, and we form this picture in our mind, and we expect them to just be so serious and everything. And that's why when I see people laugh on stage while they're playing, break into smile, I just love that they keep it real. You know, it's all about being real.
There's I have an invitation for you and others, which is, if you look at any great classical player, any of them, and look at just about any great jazz player, they all look professorial. Why? Because music, in my opinion, is not meant as an entertaining aspect, meaning that I would play for you. I've never played for anybody, and I don't believe that an Itzhak Perlman per se, or
Right.
genuine, or you know what I mean, or an
Yeah,
art Pepper, or any of these guys. They didn't play for people; they played for themselves
absolutely.
only. And by that, they had been the most realistic in the music, and hence took on a professorial concentration, a non so-called humor element, because off the stage everybody's wackadoodle, you know,
Yeah,
invite people to be in the audience in order to share this experience because it's personal and it's vulnerable
yeah,
and it's naked. So I'm a little bit, and this is, I'm an older guy too, so I've been around them, you know, where we all acted kind of crazy on stage and we smiled and we laughed. And I've arrived at this particular point that if I play for me, I know people are there. And I'm
yeah.
quite professorial, but if anybody knows me, I'm you know, one part Jerry Lewis, one part Steve Martin, two parts Mel Brooks. I mean, I have a really, you know, crazy sense of humor, but
Yeah,
not when I'm doing this.
yeah. It's a very introspective act
Oh,
as well.
yes. So I'm
Yeah,
not quite sure of the element. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you because it
yeah,
is a popular reference that we are not necessarily showing that we are human, or not showing that we're human by going bo 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 and looking down and looking inward.
yeah.
There's where it all resides. And
Oh,
people,
and I agree because even with my comments and how I feel about that,
uh-huh.
I was a defender of when people would comment and complain that Neil Peart never smiles, always looks so serious. That's just him in his element. So what? You know, just listen to the fucking music. You know, does it matter? It's like when people see someone playing, they say, "Oh, his pinky's out," or "Why is he holding the stick like that?" Would it matter if you didn't see it? Does a blind person care? It really comes down to what is the music that's coming out. Everyone has their own way of creating it and performing it, and it doesn't always have to be quote by the book as long as it serves the song. Ooh, just kidding.
Slipped out. Um, so
Wait, shout out to Paul Howe watching from Montreal. A hoser, how's it going up there? A in the Great White North. Is it cold yet, Paul? Chiming in on the comments. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
yeah, if anybody's commenting, any thoughts?
No, just that. But we'd love to know who are your favorite drums and bass combination teams, duos. Yeah. And I've got so many, and we're only 11 episodes in. I have probably 40 episodes more worth of favorite bass and drums duos. Like if I, and I have not sat down and made a list, but
Mhm.
if I sat down and made a list, I'd be like, oh my gosh, we got to blow through all these episodes. There's so many. I'm sure you do too, in many genres of music too, right?
Well, not a favorite drum and bass duo, a favorite band environment where the bass player and the drummer and the other members of the group cohese.
Mm-hmm.
And in that sense, I've never really isolated in my listening almost ever. I think one of the rare times might be the 16th note subdivisions of Francis Rocco Prestia and David Garibaldi. That
Oh,
was sort of so remarkably that it did stand out. But for the 99.9% of the rhythms and lows, I always sort of tended to include everybody.
yeah.
You know, the notion locking with the drummer. That's,
Yeah.
if I may, that's a pretty flawed concept in my opinion,
Yeah.
because band members don't lock with the drummer;
Good luck with each other.
they lock with each other.
Yeah.
Locking
It's like,
with a drummer is a myth, and it's a
yeah,
made
it's
up
like
concept.
a whole organism. The band is an ensemble of any type, whether it's a 70-piece orchestra or a 3-piece rock band. It's one organism and they have to behave as such for
Bravo.
it to work, right?
Bravo. I agree with you 100%. It's, well, look at the poor drummer. It's like, what? I'm the guy that's got to keep you guys straight. It's a
Right.
little bit unfair, and it only relates to the fact that the drums aren't a harmonic instrument.
Yeah.
So because there isn't a particularly identifiable tone or note coming from him or her,
Yeah.
that in that regard, it seemed to have been elevated, it evolved,
Yeah.
whereby the drummer is the focus. But no drummer's ever been the focus to me as much as the drummer, the guitarist, the pianist, and sometimes the singer.
Yeah. There's singers out there too.
They're out there. I have a singer story. You want to hear it?
Absolutely.
All right, a quick one. I was in Germany and I did a seminar, and it was they asked me to overview a little ensemble with a young lady who sang. She was a student that had a rhythm section. So the band leader counted 1, 2, 3, 4, and she didn't come in time or came in early. So when we stopped, I said to her, watch your time. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 feelings, come in on that. And she didn't do it 2 or 3 times. So I said, what's up? She says, the band is wrong. And I knew it wasn't. So I said, young lady, you have to count internally. My big mantra, bass players that follow me know this. Time is here. 1, 2, 3, 4 feelings, or such a thing.
Yeah.
And I said, excuse me, but I don't think you're subdividing this time and you're not hearing this correctly. No, it's the band. Anyway, she went to the school to complain about me and telling him that I insulted her and I never was invited back. And that was, I think, one of my first experiences with schools whereby maybe the intention isn't to educate, but to keep complacent and to enable the emotions and feelings of students, where I don't think it helps people out to do it. So
I agree. Not everyone can be a winner. Not everybody is a winner. Not everybody can win. I've been a proponent of that, no pun intended, school of thought for a long time. You don't give ribbons out to everybody just because they participated. You give them out to the winners. And I agree. I think the intention there, and I don't know if it was cultural, it could have been partly cultural and part of academia there, that, you stay in these boundaries and anything outside those boundaries is wrong. So get that guy out of here.
Well, it happened at MI also when I was back in the day.
They don't know what's going on.
They had a drum teacher there, and I don't recall his name, and he instructed the student. He came up and played, and he instructed the student, saying, look, something's not right. I watched it. And the guy threw his drumsticks down, screamed at the teacher and said, yeah, what else am I doing wrong, or some such a thing? He went to the head of the school at the time, and the head of the school told all of us not to correct students ever again. And this is what we all got paid to do.
How do you teach without that? Right?
From this point on, we sat in the room. People would get up and play. We didn't say a word. They'd get down, and the next group would get up, and everybody was happy. But it was the beginning of the sort of question mark understanding of modern bass and modern education that began to start in me. And it was all from these 2, 3, 4 events that had happened to me. One last one. I'm sorry. I know it's about drums and lows.
That's okay. No, that's okay. This is part of that. What time period is all this, by the way? When was Germany and when was the MI experience? Roughly?
I think it was late 90s.
Okay.
That's when I began to post comments in magazines that modern music education and bass player teaching is starting to kind of fail students, because I saw teachers basically
wondering for time context, what was going on then
around late 1990s, 1900s.
I know you're old enough.
I am now. I'm scared I'm going to one day go 1900s BC.
But that was the late 1900s. It was 1990s.
It was.
Yeah. So what's the next one?
Here's the last one. I did a clinic showing. God, these stories are popping in my head now. Two quick ones. I'm showing ideas to people in a clinic. But you play these notes, and here's the notes. I invited people up to play. And then I said, are there any questions? And a guy goes, what time is it?
Did he mean this or time signature?
He meant this. And I said, that's your question? And I said, well, it's 6:30. I said, is that your question? Why'd you ask that? And he said to me, and I'm almost quoting, well, you said we could ask anything. He said that because he had to go get his laundry. That's a true story. And the next one, and this is quick, is at a Peter Erskine clinic that I participated in. I played bass for Peter. And he did a beautiful, maybe one of the few purely, I would call it, academic references to the subdivision of rhythm and how to play them. And he did it for 45 minutes because I enjoyed watching it.
Oh, wow.
Any questions? Hand goes up. What was the question? Are those your drums?
Oh
Now,
my gosh.
listen, I don't mean to minimize people and whatever and whatever their focus is, but the reason that I might tend to be alone in my view of the lowering of bass education or music education is because people don't insist that it be raised. And it's
Yeah.
what those little samples have expanded to
Yeah, those
college
samples.
level playing at this time, college level.
Yeah, and those
And
samples also show that most people don't see an opportunity, even if it's sitting right in front of them at 124 dBs. You know, you have an opportunity to ask Peter Erskine anything, and that's what you ask, or ask you what time it is. You know, it's just, I don't know. I don't know. When I hear that, I don't know what their motivations are to be part of that institution or go to that clinic or seminar to begin with.
there's a common feel or attitude now that if you play and whatever you play is okay. And in that philosophy, as taught by top name teachers, it has distorted the reality that learning how to play an instrument is no different than learning how to cook a good soup or learning how to hit a good putt or learning how to drive a car is mechanically almost uniquely the same experience. So it's an odd evolution of incapable educators, not everyone, but really the internet is a good place to see that people seem not to care that the people that they've entrusted to teach them haven't improved their playing. So when I get on and I say this isn't working, people get angry, and I understand, but I'm only speaking of the truth that teachers are not teaching what should be taught in a large way, and students are okay with it and even finance it. So it's I don't know. I evolved into this little point of thought because I've been watching some videos online and I noticed some educational thoughts and noticed people's comments. This is kind of a slightly lost industry now. I don't know if it can recover, but in this sense, most people won't make a career. Sorry, but it's a fact. But you can play at home and have fun in that regard, sure. But it's best to make sure that if one wants a career, you got to die for your instrument. You got to practice and play it and love it to the fullest, full tilt, and do other things in your life. But I think that things have gotten a little wackadoodle in bass and maybe drum, I don't know, education. And so here I am.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing all that.
Was that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
People can question it. I'm open. I'm here to, help because I want people to get what they're seeking. So
absolutely. And for those who might have missed it, as we close out, I'm going to show Jeff's clip, and then we're going to close with part of my clip. And thanks everybody for following what we do. I told Jeff he could take the rest of the year off. All right. There you go. And here's Jeremy Colson on drums and Mohini Day on bass. And we'll leave you with this, folks. See you soon. Jeff, hang on the line with me for a moment.
Yeah, sure.
All right, folks, thanks for joining Jeff, Berlin, and myself here on Rhythm and Lows. Happy holidays. We'll see you again soon.